Brenda had always been full of energy. At 69 years old, she was the type of woman who never stopped, cooking for her grandkids, walking with friends, volunteering at the local community center. She was proud of her active life and often joked that she had more energy than people half her age. But slowly, almost without realizing it, that energy began to fade. At first, it was small things. Needing to sit down after folding laundry, feeling winded after walking up the stairs, wanting to nap in the middle of the day, something she never used to do. She blamed it on age. "I guess this is just what getting older feels like," she told herself. But deep down, something didn't feel right. This wasn't the normal tiredness after a long day. This was something different, deeper, heavier. A fatigue that clung to her no matter how much she rested. Then came the moment that changed everything. One afternoon, Brenda was at the park with her grandson. He ran ahead to the swings, laughing, calling her to catch up, and she couldn't. Her legs felt like lead. Her chest tightened. She had to sit down, heart pounding, breathing hard, while the joy in her grandson's voice turned into worry. That evening, she told her doctor what had been happening, and that's when she heard the words she never expected. "This isn't normal aging. This could be a warning." The truth is, constant fatigue can be your body's early cry for help. It's one of the most common and most ignored symptoms of serious underlying health problems. And if you don't know what to look for, you might miss the chance to stop something dangerous before it grows. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 hidden causes of fatigue that Brenda never saw coming and how each one can silently harm your health if ignored. Stay with me until the end, because the very first cause might surprise you. It doesn't start in your muscles or your sleep, but in the organ that's been working the hardest your entire life. The first hidden cause of Brenda's exhaustion wasn't something she could see or feel directly. It was buried deep in her chest. Her heart, the organ she had trusted every day of her life, was quietly struggling. Brenda never thought of herself as someone with heart problems. She didn't have chest pain. She wasn't overweight. She wasn't the type to sit around all day. So when her doctor mentioned the words early heart failure, she was stunned. But then he explained something she had never heard before. Fatigue is often one of the very first signs that the heart is no longer pumping efficiently. When the heart can't push enough blood through the body, every organ, every muscle, and even the brain begins to feel the effects. The body becomes starved for oxygen, even during rest. And what Brenda felt as just being tired was actually a sign that her cells were running on empty. She remembered how, over the past few months, walking to the mailbox felt harder. She began skipping her afternoon walks. Carrying laundry upstairs left her breathless. It all seemed subtle until it wasn't. Her doctor ordered a series of tests, including an echocardiogram, which revealed that her heart's pumping strength was weaker than it should be. It wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't a crisis. It was something even more dangerous in its silence: chronic heart strain. Brenda felt a wave of fear, but also clarity. Her body had been speaking for months. She just hadn't known how to listen. The good news? She caught it early. And with medication, a salt-reduced diet, and light daily movement, she began to feel her energy return little by little. Her steps became lighter, her sleep deeper, her afternoons brighter. If you felt constant fatigue, especially with light effort, walking, carrying groceries, going upstairs, don't assume it's just age. It could be your heart asking for help in the only way it knows how, by slowing you down. And for Brenda, the next thing draining her strength wasn't her heart, but something much smaller hidden in her blood, yet affecting her entire body. The second hidden cause behind Brenda's overwhelming fatigue was something she never would have imagined: a deficiency in her blood. After her heart test revealed early strain, her doctor ordered additional labs, just to rule out anything else. That's when it showed up. Brenda was anemic. Not dangerously so, but just enough that her red blood cells couldn't carry as much oxygen as her body needed. The result? A constant, quiet exhaustion that no amount of sleep could fix. Anemia, especially in older adults, is often missed because the symptoms are subtle. It doesn't always cause dizziness or paleness like people expect. Instead, It shows up as a kind of tiredness that lingers through the day, a feeling of being drained before the day even begins. Brenda remembered waking up in the mornings already feeling like she needed a nap. Climbing stairs felt harder. She started skipping her morning walks. Even small conversations sometimes left her foggy, her mind just a bit slower to catch up. Her doctor explained that iron and vitamin B12 play vital roles in helping the body create strong, healthy red blood cells. Without them, oxygen delivery suffers. And without enough oxygen, every part of the body, brain, muscles, nerves slows down. The surprising part? Brenda's diet hadn't changed much. But as we age, the body often becomes less efficient at absorbing nutrients, even from good foods. What was once enough suddenly isn't. The good news was that with the right supplements and a few changes in her meals, Brenda's energy began to return. She added more leafy greens, lean meats, and foods rich in B12. She even started cooking with cast iron skillets, a small but helpful source of dietary iron. Most importantly, she learned to stop brushing off her tiredness as something she just had to push through. If you're always tired, even after a good night's rest, or if your mind feels foggy, your muscles weak, your breath shallow, don't assume it's nothing. It might be a quiet sign that your blood is working overtime without the support it needs. And for Brenda, the next source of her fatigue was hiding in a butterfly-shaped gland at the base of her neck, small, but mighty, and completely out of balance. The third silent thief of Brenda's energy was something she had never given much thought to: her thyroid. It's a small, butterfly-shaped gland at the base of the neck, responsible for producing hormones that control how fast or slow the body runs. And in Brenda's case, it had slowed way down. After discovering her anemia and early heart strain, her doctor decided to run a full panel of tests, just to be thorough. When the thyroid results came back, it was clear Brenda had hypothyroidism. Her thyroid wasn't producing enough hormone. And without that hormone, everything inside her, from metabolism to memory to mood, had started to move in slow motion. She finally had an explanation for the things she couldn't quite make sense of. Why her skin had felt drier lately. Why she couldn't concentrate as easily. Why her weight had crept up, even though her diet hadn't changed. And most of all, why she felt so tired, even after a full night's sleep. Her doctor explained that thyroid problems are extremely common in people over 60, and especially in women, but they're often mistaken for normal signs of aging. The body slows down, yes. But when the thyroid is underactive, the slowdown becomes extreme. Digestion, memory, heart rate, body temperature, they all get sluggish. And energy? It disappears. Brenda thought back to a day when she had trouble remembering the name of a neighbor she'd known for 20 years. Another day, she sat in her chair and watched the afternoon pass, too tired to get up and start dinner. It wasn't laziness. It wasn't age. It was her body, running without the fuel it needed. The solution wasn't dramatic. A small, daily dose of thyroid hormone helped restore her energy within weeks. Alongside that, a focus on selenium-rich foods and regular checkups kept her stable. Brenda learned that sometimes the most powerful parts of your body are the ones you forget are even there until they stop doing their job. If your fatigue is paired with cold sensitivity, dry skin, slower thinking, or weight gain without reason, it's time to check your thyroid. Because for Brenda, the next reason she was feeling so worn down wasn't about what was happening in her body during the day, but what wasn't happening during the night. The fourth hidden reason Brenda felt so exhausted was that her nights were failing her just as much as her days. For months, she had been waking up feeling like she hadn't slept at all. Even after going to bed early, even after staying in bed for 8 or 9 hours, her mornings were heavy, her body stiff, her mind foggy. She tried herbal teas. She tried reading before bed. She even bought a new pillow, thinking maybe she just wasn't sleeping right. But no matter what she did, the fatigue never went away. It wasn't until she mentioned her sleep during a follow-up appointment that her doctor raised an eyebrow. "Does anyone ever tell you that you snore?" he asked. Brenda laughed. "Only my cat," she joked. But her daughter had mentioned it once, that Brenda sometimes made strange, gasping sounds at night. That led to a sleep study. And the results were clear. Brenda had sleep apnea. Her airways were closing repeatedly during the night, cutting off her oxygen and pulling her body out of deep sleep again and again, without her even knowing it. Sleep apnea is incredibly common in older adults, especially those who snore or carry weight in the neck or upper body. And it's dangerous. It can raise blood pressure, strain the heart, trigger memory loss, and leave the body completely depleted. Brenda realized she wasn't being lazy during the day. She was fighting to function after nights spent in a constant state of stress. She remembered one morning when she had to sit down halfway through brushing her hair because her arms felt so weak. She thought it was just getting older, but in truth, her body hadn't truly rested in months. Once diagnosed, she was given a simple CPAP device to help keep her airways open at night. It wasn't glamorous, but the effect was profound. Within days, she felt a shift. She woke up clearer. She laughed more. She even started walking again in the mornings. If you're waking up tired, if you snore loudly, if you feel sleepy during the day no matter how long you've slept, don't ignore it. Your nights may be silently stealing your life. And for Brenda, the final cause of her fatigue wasn't physical at all, but it was just as real and just as dangerous if left untreated. The fifth hidden cause of Brenda's constant exhaustion wasn't in her blood, her heart, or her sleep. It was in her spirit, something she had always kept strong, until it slowly began to dim. Brenda had always been the strong one, the listener, the helper, the one who lifted others up when they were down. But somewhere along the way, she had stopped noticing that no one was checking on her. She had gone through a lot in the past 2 years, the loss of a close friend, changes in her routine, feeling less needed as her grandchildren grew older. She smiled through it all. She stayed busy, but inside, something was shifting. Her laughter became less frequent. She stopped calling friends back. She felt tired before the day even started and numb before the sun went down. And yet, she never said the word depression, not even to herself. Her doctor did. After a long conversation, gentle questions, and a quiet moment of silence, he looked at her with kindness and said, "Brenda, I think your body is tired because your heart is tired. You've been carrying too much, alone, for too long." That conversation opened a door she hadn't realized was locked. Depression in older adults often hides behind physical symptoms, fatigue, trouble concentrating, sleep issues, changes in appetite. It doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it just feels like heaviness, like disinterest, like being disconnected from the joy you used to feel. Brenda's doctor helped her find support, not just medication, but counseling, community, tools to reconnect with herself. Little by little, the fog began to lift. She found that laughter again. She started journaling, going to group walks, calling old friends. She started showing up for herself, the same way she had always shown up for others. And her energy? It didn't return all at once, but it did return brighter, steadier, more real. If your tiredness comes with a quiet sadness, if you feel numb, flat, or like you're just getting through the day without joy, please know this: your fatigue may be emotional, not just physical. And that kind of tiredness deserves care, compassion, and healing, just like any illness. Because Brenda's final lesson was simple. Sometimes the most dangerous exhaustion is the kind we never talk about. And before we finish, there's one truth Brenda hopes you never forget, one that could change your path starting today. If you're still with me, it tells me something powerful. You care about your energy, your health, and the precious life still ahead of you. And that simple act of paying attention could make all the difference. Brenda's story is not rare. It's the story of countless people who feel themselves slowing down but don't know why. People who blame themselves, who assume it's just age, just stress, just life wearing them down. But what Brenda learned, and what I hope you take with you today, is that constant fatigue is not normal. It's a message, a quiet, persistent message that your body, or your heart, or your spirit needs care. Brenda chose to listen. She chose to ask questions. She chose to fight for her energy, for her laughter, for the simple joy of feeling good again. And you can too. If you recognize yourself in any part of Brenda's journey, if you feel exhausted for no clear reason, If you find joy harder to reach, if your body feels heavier than it should, don't ignore it. Talk to your doctor. Ask the hard questions. Demand the tests, the attention, the support you deserve. Because your energy is not gone. It's waiting, buried under layers of imbalance, strain, or sadness that you have the power to lift. And if this video helped you today, if Brenda's story made you think differently about your own, please stay connected with us. Subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Leave a comment sharing your story, your struggles, or even a word of encouragement for someone else who might be feeling the same way. Here, we believe that aging isn't about losing. It's about learning. It's about reclaiming your strength, your voice, your right to feel alive. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. Thank you for caring enough to seek the truth. Until next time, stay strong, stay aware, and never forget. Your best energy is still within you, waiting to shine again.